An exciting moment in the story of Jacob and his sons, loaded with lessons for us today, happened in the book of Genesis, chapter 42. Right at the start of the chapter, the story saying, when Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another? Why do you look at one another?" And he said, "Indeed, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." Well, there was a famine at that time. A famine hit the earth. And where Jacob was no different. Running out of food, the 10 brothers of Joseph, the 10 sons of Jacob were there. Rather, 11. 11 were there, chin-stroking, wandering, walking from one side to the other, looking at one another, seeing the animals dying, no rain, therefore no hope. Certainly, Jacob was not the only one who has heard that there was food, grains in Egypt, because by the wisdom, the dream that Joseph revealed to Pharaoh, inspired by God, he tried to store food for 7 years through the time of the fat cows, and when the skinny cows came, only Egypt had food, and the news spread to the neighboring nations. Jacob was not the only one, but his children, his sons, were there, as he said, looking at one another, doing nothing, no action. And it is in this situation that many find themselves. Calamity has arrived, the problem is growing, the situation gets worse every day, and the person keeps looking at the husband, the son, the wife, the dog, the mirror, the mobile phone. They keep on looking at others and looking at themselves and doing nothing. And the correction of the old Jacob to his sons was timely, because he said like this: "How long will you stand by looking at one another, expecting the food to fly from Egypt and fall in our plate? For how long will you stand by?" So this wake-up call from Jacob to his sons was to wake them up, that they had to do something, they had to move, that they may have the chance to survive. And what does that mean today to you? You who keep wishing for a different life, wishing. Because the sons of Jacob were there certainly thinking like this: I hope that tomorrow rain. I hope that tomorrow will rain. Looking at the sky, looking for a cloud, I hope that it rains. They were wishing for a different life but doing nothing. And it may be that you commit the same mistake, expecting a better tomorrow, but you do nothing better today to bring this better life to you. You must wake up. You must get out of this idleness, this spiritual slumber, this inertia, this situation. I will get by with life. Let's time pass to see what happens. You need to come out of this situation and act. Do something. What can you do? Jacob's sons could fetch the camels and go towards Egypt, face their arduous journey, They would take a chance, but have an opportunity to bring food and save the clan. They had to do something. Of course, they needed courage to do that, faith to do that. But they had to do something. What was the alternative? Was to sit down and wait for death. Then I ask you, you keep on thinking, I want a better life, but you're standing still, waiting for this to happen out of nowhere. Take a risk, take courage, do what you have to do. If you see that there's no option to leave things as they are, so what is the alternative? What can you do? What did God give in your hand for you to do? Whom can you talk to? Where can you go? What action should you take? What can you do that is different? Get up and do it. Take this action. And don't be embarrassed by your idleness or lack of action, because omission, it's a sin. Did you know it? Omission is a sin. You know how to do something and not do, it is a sin. So get up. What are you doing while you watch life go by, looking through the window at others on the street, waiting for a better day without you doing anything today? Shall we wake up? When the sons of Jacob went down to Egypt, the action of Jacob to say, go down to Egypt, go down to that place, buy food that we may live and not die. When they arrived in Egypt, there a change began in the whole story, not only of Jacob, but also in the life of Joseph and his brothers, who was placed by God in Egypt for a reason. You see the story of Joseph having closure. All that was bad that happened to him, being sold and hated by his brothers, being unjustly arrested, treated as a slave, accused of rape, all that he went through unfairly, all that was God's plan for him to end up in the right place and at the right time to save his family, his brothers who had sold him. In other words, sometimes you won't understand what's happening. You are in the midst of the storm, in the eye of the storm. But when the storm passes and everything falls into its proper place, and then you say, now I see why God allowed this in my life. Go ahead, go in this faith. If you are acting by faith, do not worry about the storm, the things that are happening. In a little while, everything will fall into its proper place, and you will look back and you say, oh, it was for this. As Joseph told his brothers, don't worry about what you've done to me. The evil you aimed against me, God used for good. God used for good. So don't worry, because even evil, when you are in faith, obedience to the word of God, following the word of God, even the evil that is done against you, God transforms it into good. Do this and stop waiting for things to fall into your lap. If today's video helped you and you know someone that could benefit from it, share it with them, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you may do so now. See you later.